So, I have what some people would call a commute to work. And when I bring up what my commute to work is, I have a fair amount of people that'll say things like, oh, that's too bad, or oh, that sucks. And that's really where the motivation for this particular video comes from. That's the inspiration for this video, because instead of looking at my daily commute in a negative way, I've chosen to change my attitude about it and look at it in a positive light. And so how do I do that? Well, I try to make my daily commute as effective as possible. I try to get something from it. Now, that is hard to do when you're the actual driver, because there's only so much you can do. It's not like I can, answer emails or texts or things like that. I guess I could if I wanted to be irresponsible, but I try not to be. And so until I'm able to have a driver and do things like that, I gotta get a little creative. And so some of the things that I do are I listen to motivational speeches or stories. I listen to books on tape. Sometimes I just crank my music and rock out, jam out, whatever you want to call it, and get out of my head for a while, because it might be the only time during the day that I have the ability to do that. I got a job, I got a dream I'm trying to follow, I got a wife, kids, Labrador, the whole thing. And so my days are pretty busy. And so sometimes that commute is the only time that I get to get out of my head, or I get to have that moment to listen to a book that I'm interested in. And so I've taken a negative and turned it into a positive. And when I think about that, I think about a quote from a famous author, Dennis Kimbro. Dennis Kimbro says, "Life is 10% of what happens to us. The other 90% is how we react." And no offense to Mr. Kimbro, but I'm going to agree to disagree. I think when it comes to life, okay, our attitude and how we react is 100% of everything. Life happens. We have to learn to live life on life's terms. We've all heard the cliche, it happens. You step in it, it happens. It's all about how we react. So when it comes to life, our attitude is 100% of everything and how we react to it. So we can look at things and say, why is this happening to me? Or we can say, what can I learn from this situation to help me grow in the future? So whether it's relationally, athletically, occupationally, it doesn't matter. 100% is our attitude and how we react. So if it's relationally, if you're going through a tough breakup or a divorce, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, what can I learn from this so that my relationships in the future can be better? If it's athletically, if you got cut from a team, if you didn't make the travel team, if you got benched, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Look at it as, what can I do to be better so that I don't get cut, so that I don't continue to ride the bench? If it's occupationally, if you didn't get a promotion, instead of, why is this happening to me? What can I do to become better at the job that I'm doing so that I am the person for the job that I want? If you tried to start a business and it's not going well, or it failed, instead of saying, why did this happen to me? Say, what can I learn from this experience to help me in the future to be better? So, life is going to happen. How we react and our attitude is 100% of everything. I don't make these videos and edit them all at once. So obviously I'm going to do some little editing magic, but I'm going to go ahead and show a video clip right now that really illustrates the point that I'm trying to make. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that right now.
Hey. What you doing here? Don't you have practice?
Not anymore, I quit.
Oh. Well, since when are you the quitting kind?
I don't know, I just don't see the point anymore.
So you didn't make the dress list. There are greater tragedies in the world.
I wanted to run out of that tunnel for my dad. To prove to everyone that I worked...
what?
That I was somebody.
Oh, you are so full of crap. You're 5 feet nothing. 100 and nothing. And you got hardly a speck of athletic ability. And you hung in with the best college football team in the land for 2 years. And you're also gonna walk out of here with a degree from the University of Notre Dame. In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. And after what you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't gonna never happen. Now go on back.
I'm sorry I never got you to see your first game in here.
Hell, I've seen too many games in this stadium.
I thought you said you never saw a game.
I've never seen a game from the stands.
You were a player?
I rode the bench for 2 years. Thought I wasn't being played because of my color. I got filled up with a lot of attitude. So I quit. Still not a week goes by, I don't regret it. And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you. You hear me clear enough?
All right, so you just got finished watching a video clip from the movie Rudy, which you may or may not know, but it's based on a true story. The main character's name is Rudy, thus the name of the movie. But Rudy has this, he goes to Notre Dame, tries out for the football team, and makes it as a walk-on. And he practices with the team day in, day out for years, getting beat up, getting punished, you name it. He works his rear end off to try to achieve the goal of dressing for a home game. He had that goal of dressing for a game, running out of the tunnel, running out on that field. And as an athlete, that's something I can relate to. My freshman year of college, playing lacrosse at Limestone College, not everybody dressed for away games. Not everybody traveled to away games. And I can remember being a freshman, not making the bus list, and having that same feeling of, man, I want to make the travel team. And I could have looked at it as, you know, oh, why did this happen to me, or this isn't fair, or, you know, while everybody that made the travel team was gone, I could be working on my game. And but in this clip, Rudy's looking at everything in a negative, and it takes the character Fortune to remind him of all the positive things that have come from this experience. He reminds him he's going to get a degree from the University of Notre Dame. He reminds him that despite his underweight, undersized, lack of athletic ability, that he hung with some of the best athletes in the country for one of the best football teams in the country at that time, for the time that he did, and really turns it around. And while he's doing that, though, he has to check himself. And he shares his own story. And he talks about how, you know, the goal that Rudy had, he achieved. He ran out of the tunnel. He wore that jersey. But he rode the bench. He rode the bench long enough that he says it himself, he got an attitude. And he let that attitude cause him to quit. And he says that not a day goes by in his life that he doesn't regret that decision. And so he tells Rudy not to have that same regret. And so Rudy, instead of looking at, why is this happening to me, forgot to say, what did I learn from this, or what came out of this? And in hindsight, Fortune's able to look at his own attitude and what it cost him. And so again, when it comes to life, our attitude is 100% of everything. If you don't believe that attitude is everything, go ahead and do the math. What do I mean by that? Well, it seems like an impossible coincidence to me, but there are 26 letters in the alphabet. If you assign each letter in the alphabet a numeric value based on where it lies in the alphabet, A equals 1, T equals 20, again, T equals 20, I equals 9, T again equals 20, U equals 21, D equals 4, E equals 5. Now I'm no mathematician, but do the math, add that up, 100%. Attitude is 100% of everything. And I don't want to take too much of your time, and so I'll end with this. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, and he once said, I didn't fail 1,000 times to create the light bulb. I found 1,000 ways how not to create the light bulb. So instead of looking at why is this happening to me or why won't this go right, he thought, what can I learn from these experiences so that I can do better the next time? Because on try 999, if he would have said, this is never going to happen, I'm no good, I'm not smart enough, it's not possible, we may or may not have the light bulb. But luckily, his attitude was, what can I learn from this to do better the next time? And he was finally successful in creating the light bulb. And so, again, attitude is 100% of everything. Whether it's relationally, occupationally, athletically, whatever it is, whatever you're going through, whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's all about your attitude. Your attitude is going to dictate whether or not you accomplish the things that you set out to accomplish, because it's going to give you, the knowledge of what you can do better the next time, or it's going to give you the courage to keep going. It's going to give you the drive that you need to keep going until, you're successful. And so I say, if you want to be successful in life, it's all about your attitude. That being said, I hope you got your fix for the week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, share it, hate it. That's your attitude, not mine. Take care.